Yan na. Morning, morning. Kamusta kayo dyan? Di tuloy tayo nakatulog eh. Makikita nyo, agang-aga, 6 a.m. pa lang nagme-message na ako dyan. Nako po, nakita nyo kagabi, medyo naging senti na tayo. Nag-open letter, open text na tayo. Wala tayong pang text. Kaya, yung mga hindi nagpasa load dyan, kaya yung open letter text natin kay Yorme, hindi na-send. Ayan tuloy. Anong oras ko pa na-post yan? 12? 1 a.m.? Nako po. Kahapon kasi. Ito, greetings muna. Of course, andyan yung mga spills natin. Kamusta dyan, mga ka-Isko, ka-Camping, ka-Pacman, ka-Antman, ka-GMRC? Ayan, kamusta kayo dyan? Yan, alam ko yan ang hinahanap nyo eh. Okay na, tapos na tayo sa greetings. Now, let's get down to business. Kasi alis din ako, meron ako meeting later with some ambassador and all. Ay. Nako po, kailangan po ng adult intervention. Kailangan na po ng adult intervention. Nagme-meltdown na po. May meltdown na po tayo. This is not helping at all. Yung mga Naku po, Wednesday na. Andyan pa rin yung away ng weekend pa rin. Andyan pa rin, ayaw mag-move on yung iba. My goodness. Whew! Ayan na. Ano na mangyari sa atin? Wala. Tapos wala na. Kung ganyan talaga. Kaya nga tayo nag-open letter pa kahapon. At pinapagalitan ko pa yung iba na taga-ibang camp naman na nakiki-hate fest. Yung mga hate fest na yan po ay hindi tumutulong doon sa their electoral dynamics. You know, bringing Isko down doesn't make Lenny necessarily stronger because it doesn't bring down Bongbong numbers. It's just basic, electoral strategy dynamics po, di ba? Kung ikaw ay nasa kampo ni Bongbong Marcos ngayon, happy ka. These are like the best moments. This is like, wow, this is interesting. Take out the popcorn. Okay. Sino na? Number 2 versus number 3. Number 3 versus number 5. Nako po. Ayan, back and forth. Alam mo, sabi ko nga eh. Alam ko marami magagalit dyan, mga kakamping natin dyan. Yung mga ka-Isko itong sasabihin ko I know where Yorme is coming from. Okay? And no, it's not misogyny and all of that. Although, of course, the optics was not really good. 4 men there and then one of them asking for the only woman in there is... No, this is not misogyny. Okay, let's be very clear about this. Unang-una, pagod talaga si Isko. Nakikita ko yan eh. Kaya nga ako, very strictly, I following Sabbath Day as much as I can. If you see, once lang in the past 6 months or 1 year, sa Sunday ako nag-post or something, anything like that. And that was because nag-live feed ako from that Pasig, rally, etc. Just for the sake of on the ground. Kaya nga, very strict ako. Kasi, lalo kung workaholic ka, kung you're working almost 24/7, tingnan naman ako yung schedule ko. 4 hours lang atang tulog natin eh. Pero okay naman, fresh pa rin naman. Hindi naman masyado, sakto lang. You need the Sabbath day. And yun nga eh, ang sense ko dito, Isko is really exhausted. This guy is literally all over the place. Physically, and then now, communications-wise, he's all over the place. Tingin ko talaga kailangan ng konting pahinga. And I don't mean this as an insult. I'm just saying, honestly, I know people, when they're on the edge, they're irascible, they're irritable, mahirap magkaroon ng on-script or at least discipline communications. And clearly na nangyari dyan. So yung mga ka-Isko na nakikinig sa atin, huwag kayo magalit sa akin. I'm just being honest here and I'm giving kind of an unsolicited advice. Konting pangyak po, konting alam ko, stress si Isko. And at the same time, I understand, patapos na yung race and there's a lot of frustration there because I remember very well, just few months ago, Isko was expecting to be in a pole position, to be a very strong position. but it seems the numbers are so far not as encouraging as they want. So I can understand yung frustration, yung exhaustion, and then andito na tayo sa last 2 minutes ng race. All of these elements are coming together. Alam ko that makes Isko very irascible. Siguro, I mean, anyone in that position possibly. I'm not justifying. I'm not justifying some of the things that happened over the weekend. I think that was bad communications. I think that should have been avoided, etc. Okay, this is not a rationalization. This is a call, right, for focus, eye on the ball, eye on the ball. Diba? Kasi si Perfect Attendance, tuwan-tuwa ngayon siguro. No? Talagang Oxford man, dati dyan, papanorin na. Medyo mafioso bang itsura natin ngayon. So yun, I mean, I really think Sabbath is very important in this case. Konting pahinga dito. And some reflection, life is not just politics. Life is not just these elections. Politics doesn't end at the ballot box or after. Isko, bata ka pa, sir. Marami ka pang pwedeng gawin. There's a lot to still do in the next 2 to 3 weeks in this race. Kaya kalma lang tayo kasi this is not looking good. I mean, this is not looking good. And then nakikita ko dyan sa Twitter, yung mga kakamping naman, nako po, hate fest naman. I mean, I get it. You're protective of your candidate. You're protective of Lenny. Gets ko yan. Okay, syempre, candidate nyo, etc. Naiirita kayo. I get it. But, gusto nyo ba manalo or hindi? Gusto nyo ba pakinggan yung data or hindi? Klarong-klaro, konti lang overlap nyo with BBM people. Yung mga bumoboto kay BBM, sobrang konti sa kanila iboboto kay Lenny under any circumstances. Right? So really, your best chance of making this race more competitive is making sure, or not making sure, but at least hoping that Isko does better because he has more overlap with BBM. Parang common sense. Come on. I mean, come on. So by bringing down Isko, you're not helping your own case. Unless you're enjoying attacking Isko and trying to forget about the number one in this race, right? Kaya, where are the adults? Nasaan na po? Where are the adults? Kailangan natin adult intervention dito. Nagme-meltdown na ito. Nagme-meltdown na. So yon, I mean, I think the best thing is just forget about it, move forward, focus on the race, right? Again, I'm not justifying or rationalizing some of the mishaps and some of the not best things being said, but I think we're missing the big picture here. We're missing the big context here. And ito pagdating kay Isko, I understand, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, yung mga ka-Isko. Correct me if I'm wrong, Yorme. Yung mga kakamping, correct me if I'm wrong. Mga ka-Antman, ka-Pacman, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Ang basa ko dito, there's also this element of genuine resentment in a sense that not only because I think Isko really expected at some point na magte-team up sila ni Lenny or Lenny will not run, but I think aside from that is also this Englisheros, mga elite school educated people dyan on Twitter, mga English speaking peoples. Yan, mga nagte-Twitter, nag-attack, etc. kay Isko. I think you understand what I'm saying here, right? It hits him somewhere, and it triggers that kind of an anti-establishment, populist, resentment, etc. And again, this is not a statement of judgment or anything like that. This is just purely an analysis based on my understanding of the candidates, based on understanding of the Twitter sphere, etc. Now, in fairness, dun sa mga nanonood kagabi, of course, kasama ko yung mga kaibigan natin dyan from different camps, no? So si Sir Buddy Zamora, yung campaign manager ni Senator Pacman nandun, si Attorney Barry Gutierrez, yung spokesman ni Vice President Lenny Robredo nandun. Of course, si Sir Gilbert, Attorney Gilbert naman from the Isko camp. So, we had this discussion kahapon dun sa CNN Philippines, etc. And some of that was quoted. Na in fairness naman, Attorney Barry Gutierrez clarified that their team is not involved or is not authorizing any kind of pressure campaign to push Lacson or Isko or anyone to drop out. They have given up on that. That's my understanding. And I think they already made a statement the other week na wala na, tapos na, hindi na nila pipilitin yung unity, whatever. So mukhang what's happening here is that there's some lone wolf, I think is not the most correct term, but there's some, let's call them overzealous supporters of Lenny, among others, who are pressuring Isko and others to drop out without having an inch, an iota of understanding of what this race is all about. Yan kasi ang problema kung nasa echo chamber lang kayo. Yan kasi ang problema kung purong Google Trends lang. Baka si Isko pang number 1 ngayon sa Google Trends, di ba? Dahil sa Yan na kasi ang problema kung hindi kayo nakikinig sa matinong analysis. Nakikinig kayo doon sa nyo. This goes for all camps, ha? Huwag feeling yung ibang camp na matalino kayo ganun. Nakikita ko rin yung analysis ng mga nyo. Yung mga empresaryos nyo. Yung level of analysis, parang, haven't you learned anything from 2016 and 2019 elections? Who made you guys the ideologues of your camp? My goodness, the level of, ang babaw nung level of analysis, no understanding of the dynamics of the race, the datas, etc., dismissiveness towards any data that is not affirming their analysis, etc. You're not even hedgehogs. Forget about being hawks. I mean, you're not even a hedgehog, right? Alam niyo naman yung difference between a hedgehog and fox. We can talk about that later on. Ito sana today, pag-usapan natin more. I mean, I'll try to talk about this a little bit later on more. Zelensky, Lula da Silva, marami tayong pag-usapan. Kaso, paggising natin na umaga, ito na naman. Kailangan ng adult intervention dito. This is not helping. I mean, this is crazy. I know there are people there who are enjoying this, whatever. I mean, I know there's resentment and anger on both sides. There's a lot of frustration. But alam mo, ito yung parang, alam mo yung mga movies na pinapanood mo, yung sports movies. Tapos yung tambak na nga kayo ng kabila. Tapos mag-away-away pa yung mga players and coach. Parang gano'n nangyari. Tapos yung kabila, dribbling lang. Oh, bahala kayo dyan. Tambak na nga kayo. Wala. Adult time. Yan, slow clap tayo. Slow clap. Yan. Okay. Kaya chill. There's still almost 3 weeks left. Okay? May 3 weeks left. Relax lang ako. Chill lang kayo. Relax na ako. Amigo, come on. Relax lang ako. I'm just saying, sometimes you have to call it out. Kasi nakikita ko problema ganito Kampo-kampo No one sees the big picture. Inattack mo yung ko, atakin kita. Inattack mo yung ganito ko, atakin kita. Ganun lang naman Kampo-kampo yung mag-isip. Kaya nga ganun yung politika natin Kasi kampo-kampo mag-isip. Partisan mag-isip. Hindi tinitignan yung big picture. Hindi tinitignan yung lay of the land. Yan po yung ginagawa natin dito. Yan, mukha na akong parang mafioso. You do not look at the lay of the land. I am looking at you. Hey, what are you doing? Okay. Gets you, man? Kampo-kampo. Para tayo mga New York Mafia dito. Relax lang tayo dyan. Diba? Corleone. Okay. Hoy, 2 weeks na lang. 2 weeks and a half. Almost 3 weeks. Kaya naman, di ba? Kaya naman. April 20 pa lang, di ba? Unless I'm missing the... Mayroon pa. More than 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks. Pwede pa. Ito kung titingnan niyo yung data ng Publicus Asia, hindi na ako magsalita, hindi na ako mag-comment masyado. But even if you look at that data, it says 70% maximum of BBM supporters are gonna stick with him. That means 30% can still change their mind. 30%, right, of 50%, 15%, right? So, still, 10 to 15 points can still change hands, right? And, let's be brutally honest, hindi yan pupunta kay Lenny if ever Bongbong Marcos numbers adjust. It's most likely gonna be people like Isko or Lacson picking it up. Or probably even Senator Pacquiao. Do you get what's going on here, right? Okay. Do you get it? Do you get what is happening? Okay, understand what I'm saying. Okay. Alright. Buongiorno, okay. Whew. Alright. Now, Yan, okay. Sabi naman in fairness kay Barry, ganun. Oh, ngayon kahapon, kasama din namin si Sir Buddy, yung campaign manager ni Senator Pacman. Tuwan-tuwa sila na hindi nakarating si Pacman. Relieved daw sila. At todo, distansya din sila. Ayun ang problema. Nagdistansya yung iba, nagdidigin yung iba, nag-pour over yung iba. Wala na. I mean, this is it. This is it. Ito yung talaga yung parang sports na pinapanood mo eh. Tambak yung team nyo, tapos nag-away-away na kayo, yung sub versus coach versus team A, ganon. Wala. Awanan. Awanan. Agawit tayo. Agawit tayo. Nalpasin. Awanan. Wala na. Saan na yung shades ko? Mag-shades na ako, alis na ako. Bahala kayo dyan. Bahala na kayo dyan, mag-Brazil na ako. Mag-Brazilian na ako. Doon na ako sa mga kasama kong Latino. Pwede naman tayo dyan, di ba? Latino. Yeah. Amigo. Ayan, good morning. Good morning sa inyo dyan. So, wait may statements na ba si Senator Pacman? Parang may statement ba siya? Ito, I'm in communications, ha? Seryoso tong ginagawa ko dito. Ay nako. Basta, I'm doing my part here to make sure na hindi may meltdown dito. This is even worse than what I thought was gonna happen. Panoorin niyo dun sa mga ibang episodes namin sa Project Pilipinas. Parang yun yung concern ko nung October, gano'n, na mag-meltdown yung mga kabila. Okay. Now, I mean, even if you're a Bongbong Marcos supporter, at alam natin, marami tayong kasama dito ng mga Bongbong Marcos supporters. So, syempre, Ilocano tayo, alam natin, marami tayong kilala dyan. You would want a race that is a little bit more competitive, right? You want a nice race. Kasi if you win a competitive race, it gives you a little bit more legitimacy. Parang pag hindi, parang medyo parang suspicious or whatever, right? I don't know. For me, if you're gonna win a race, you wanna win a good race, right? Para mas maganda eh. Kaysa yung parang labo. Diba? Yung parang labo. Now, I have to leave soon, so ayun na talagang. Let's talk about something more encouraging, okay? Let's talk about Zelensky. Let's talk about Volodymyr Zelensky. Someone I really respect, but someone I never had any illusions about. When you enter the world of politics, whether as an analyst, as a scholar, as a journalist, sino ba yan? May nagano dyan, in whatever capacity. Sino yan dyan, whatever capacity. You have to be eyes wide open, no? No illusions. Walang perfecto dito, walang santo dito. Hindi naman kailangan na good Machiavellian. But you get what I'm saying. Now, just 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, I would say, if you said Volodymyr Zelensky, it did not evoke a straightforward positive response even from liberal journalists in Ukraine. And I was in Munich when he gave a speech in the Munich Security Conference. Now, of course, I wrote a piece on that for Monocle magazine in London, and I praised it and all of that. But even then, there was a little bit of an ambivalence towards him. No? So if you look at it, see, Zelensky, according to some of the leading journalists in Ukraine, was what they call a reverse fairy tale. Yung tipong napaka fairy tale story na akyat siya from comedian to president, 70% of the votes, etc. Pero once in power na daw siya, ayan na. So for instance, Olga Rodenko, yung chief editor of Fame Kyiv Independent, she described Zelensky as dispiritingly mediocre, a showman and a performer who has been exposed by the realities of politics as he treats everything like a show. Yun po yung criticism kay Zelensky just over 2 months ago. She characterized the young Ukrainian president as notoriously thin-skinned, ayan, pikon, And because this guy, as a former actor and celebrity, is, quote, not used to criticism and challenging questions, including from the media, from the press. Nag-press conference din si Zelensky at nagkalat siya. This is around earlier this year, I think. Makikita niyo sa YouTube. I mean, I don't understand Ukrainian, but you could understand what's going on there, right? Now, in fact, he ran on the platform of going against oligarchs. Next thing you know, yung best friends niya, classmates niya, nilagay niya naging chief of staff, naging head ng parliament, ganito head of anti-corruption agencies, inakusan siya of being friendly to oligarchs, etc., etc. So much so that suddenly polls were suggesting as many as 62% of Ukrainians expressed opposition to any potential re-election of Zelensky. And polls even suggested that he could count at most on only a quarter, 25% of the vote, if ever he wanted to run for office again. This is just over 2.5 months ago. This is just now. Crucially, more than half, 53% of Ukrainians questioned whether Zelensky was able to defend the country in the event of full-scale invasion by Russia. And yet, when the darkest hour approached, boom! Zelensky proved all of his critics wrong. Everyone who made fun of him, everyone who was picking on him for his meltdown in press conferences, everyone who was trying to point out his insecurities, everyone was saying he was just showman, shallow, populist, demagogic, picon, irascible, insensitive, all of those criticisms, he's weak, etc. Boom. Now, he is described, in the West at least, no, as the Churchill of the 21st century. We saw the guy stepping up and matching the moment, no? At ngayon, talagang many people respect him around. He's one of the most admired guys. Now, I know kung you're pro the other side, of course, you would love the other things I said and you'll just stick to that. But what you're forgetting is his moment of redemption. You know, just few months ago, he was not in a good place. Now, yes, the country is in a horrible place. There is constant existential threats to him. But look at it, Zelensky redeemed himself. Because if deep inside, you have love for your country, deep inside, meron kang sheer will, strength of spirit, no? If deep inside, meron kang that kind of spiritual serenity, and if deep inside you really have a passion for public service, you're gonna step up to the plate when the moment comes. So all I'm saying here is this. There's always a chance for redemption, and never count people out. All right, you can connect the dots on your own, and we can discuss this more. But I'm saying this is quite an inspiring story if you look at it. How Zelensky turned things extremely around, and now is essentially at the forefront of resistance against Eastern imperialism. Right? Okay, now I'll keep it there. Are there any questions before we leave? Talagang classroom type pa. Ayan, pinag-usapan na natin. Oh, Isko, Zelensky. Oh, okay na yung notes natin dito. As of now, maintindihan nyo yung writing ko. Alright. Ayan na, umagang-umaga na pag ganun tayo eh. Meron na tayong mga parliamentary speech. Mr. Chair, nagkaroon tayo ng intervention dito, no?